the things that we're talking about right now is that transitioning, that movement to, and people, projects, and understandings are individual stages. If we can begin, and what we're talking about now is this journey map. It's going to help. There are people right now. I'm actually going to start building a journey map for business adopters to come into Catalyst, come into the Cardano system. I was lost. I'm both technical, but my forte is business. And I was so overwhelmed that I started getting lost, and I just started reaching out saying, how can I help? How can I help? Well, what I've come to realize is by talking to some of the people that I'm working with, they just want to know, how do I get in and understand? Well, the one thing that I know that every person should be involved in is in town hall. Everybody should be, because you get to see and feel the culture. And let me just share something personally. I really thought when I came into this, I could bring all this expertise and do the things that I've done and bring my talents, and I'm anxious and stuff. It became very apparent that I came in just being candid with a wrong assumption. And that assumption that I came in learning was this community is independent. And in order to truly help, you need to learn. Part of my mentality is shifted about making sure that I'm understanding and learning. And that's why part of this roundtable is going, where we're trying to work on the roundtable.
Well, you refer to the roundtable, Dean. It makes me think of something else, which I think maybe everyone in the, sorry to you, but it should be concerned with, is that whatever community you're in, whatever tool maker you're in, whether you're SPL or whatever, you could be the first place that someone comes to, okay? So it's a bit like, and I think there needs to be a kind of consciousness of that in our culture. I think to be fair, it's there a little bit. You know, it's better than, it's not the responsibility of Town Hall to onboard people. It's not the responsibility of tool makers, maintainers to onboard people. It's all of our responsibilities to onboard people, you know. And if someone comes along to our door, you know, and they don't know Catalyst, like yourself, Dean, did a few months ago or so, you know, then that's where they've ended up, you know, and that's where, so that there needs to be, and I think maybe we need to highlight that more in our culture, that, you know, if someone new comes along and they're in this space, you know, whatever space that is, if a developer space, a technical space, a non-technical space, whatever, you know, we can then nurture that in that place, not send them off somewhere to see some presentation, to see some video, to read a fact file. Right. Okay, you know, but to just be in the moment, you know, really, and then talk to that person. And it's not always easy, I think. Sorry, Tevo, listening.
But what you're saying, Stephen, is at the beginning, and yeah. It starts, and this is how it starts. And what then happens is people begin to trust, and when they begin to trust, they begin to share. And when they begin to share is when they begin to innovate. Yeah. And that is what this community is all about. And I am very grateful to have been able to participate and be able to have people to reach out to. Very much so, Stephen, about what you're talking about. Very much so. Yeah. So.
All right. That was a long discussion, starting from what kind of roles do we need, and it got much bigger. We actually touched a bit of ecosystem, which is nice. But for the last 20 minutes or so, I know how much you all plan to be here. I would like to gather an input. What could we ask from community to give us some kind of data points, some kind of ideas? What from Dean I captured was what questions you would ask from expert. If you would ask that in form, maybe for next Wednesday you would have some kind of questions already lined up. We'll see, maybe that helps you. But what I ideated at first, I was thinking about this, like how do we visualize what tools people are using right now, so that we and what tools are missing, so that we could see what kind of gaps there are. So I created like like a sequence of questions. Through which applications, services did you first hear about Project Catalyst? So we capture like the edge of how people enter there. What tools, services you think are missing in order to capture new people attention? So what else we should have? At the first, we didn't have swarm sessions or any kinds of like meetups. We didn't have Book Club. We didn't have podcast. We didn't have YouTube channels. So all of these things were like ad hoc, pretty much in the previous funds, because people felt like that's a nice place to onboard people and capture their attention on this moment of time. But there could be more. What were the first services and tools you started using once you entered into Project Catalyst? So basically everybody gonna say IDSK, but for some are Zoom, then Google Docs. But I don't know, maybe there are something what
Discord, Telegram.
Yes, so yeah, but we don't know what other use, because there might be something what we should also like empower more. Hey, that's a great tool for this thing. Let's maybe coordinate in this idea. We'll see if that's the idea of like asking questions to create like a user journey. Then what kind of activities in Project Catalyst you are aware of, and that's just to understand what is highlighted from the community, what they remember and what they know what to ask for. Like pretty much, if I need technical help, I go there. If I need some other help, I go there. And what kind of activities you would like to see in near future, that will pretty much give us insights for already next fund of what else they will look forward to, where the journey takes them. I don't know, does it make sense? And can you help me to provide, like, improve these questions? Because tomorrow I will see if we could already set it out and start like sharing this information around and gather some kind of data to illustrate a map for us. Okay, Juan, you had your hand up before I even started talking.
Thank you, Tevo. Very nice round table. And my apologies, I came really late. I have a few things going on here. So, but anyway, going back to, actually, I have to piggyback a little bit before we onboard your questions. Piggyback on what Stephen was saying about our responsibility to onboard people. I think it's very important that we meet people where they are. We always have to be conscious of that. People come to us with their own mindsets and their own universes, and we have to be there for them before anything else. What we are living now is very, how can I say that? It's very out of the ordinary. It's transformational. It's paradigmatic. So people will not jump into things like this. Only those who have the mentality will do that. And the other thing important is to ask questions. You know, just sit down or just listen, dedicated attention to what people are saying, and ask lots of questions and relate to them. And that will be a formula for meeting people where they are, and for sure, trust. People will trust you if you know their circumstances, and it makes a lot of sense, because if you know, I mean, if you are talking, the only way to communicate is when there are two parties. You know, whoever is listening to whoever is talking. But if we don't have common denominators, there will be no communication. So I think that's the most important thing I will do, and that's what I've been doing. And then now talking about your questions, one of the things that we have the responsibility to do is to touch into those leaders in our community that can provide that type of environment to grow the seed, you know, plant the seed of this technology on people that really makes an impact in the community and have access to others. And how we do that? We can make like mini meetings, meetups in every single area. For instance, in my country, I live in Florida, for the Eastern United States. southeastern United States, but I was born in Colombia, so I've been working with people down there for them to organize little meetups. Just try to communicate with the people that I know from here. I introduce themselves, and they start talking and planning on things. Hopefully, this the end of the year I'll be there, and my intention is to get a few meetings, to running a few meetings down there. So see if I can start bringing people together, because believe me, a lot of people knows crypto, a lot of people knows Cardano, is that they don't communicate each other. They don't see a common denominator. So by having those micro meetings, that's a formula for them to atomize and make it, not atomize, actually, but make it like a little cells that will grow, and we bring them to, in my case, we bring them to Sala de Cafe when they have the chance, because their schedule is tough, but also we bring them to town hall or to other activities that we do in Spanish, like Aldea or Fogón, and we just allow them to do their own things. The other important tool that I see is very effective is the spaces in Twitter. You just do a space, and even if you are yourself along with another person, you'll grow. And that type of things will help. But bottom line, the most important thing I think is to listen and to meet people where they are.
Thank you. Patrick, you want to?
Yeah, I already added a note about what I'm saying, but yeah, basically tools are needed to improve the Catalyst core business. The main business of Catalyst is to generate ideas and to make them self-sustainable into an ecosystem. To generate ideas, idea scale has to be replaced by a tool, an ad hoc tool, an ad hoc web application that solves specifically our problem. Because the problem of idea scale as a company is to sell this tool to other companies. Our problem is generating ideas. It's a little bit different. And then to make the ecosystem more sustainable, we need to attract new people and then increase the interaction across products. For this, I think we should have an ad hoc website where projects and people are mapped. That's all I have to say.
One issue when Steven, when we make it question very more simplified, is that I would actually like to capture then the brands or the ecosystem people engaged, because when you say engaged, I don't know, will they bring out the fact that they use these applications or they use these kinds of services to
yeah, I mean, you probably could take out the word engaged because it's just basically what held your interest. So, and that can relate to services or tools. So you could just say what tools and services held your interest. So, you could say it that way. But and that gives you some indication of how invested people are in those tools and services. I know some people bookmark certain websites or something, community sites, which they return to, that kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. What tools and services held your interest?
Once you entered into, once you're in,
Okay, so what engaged me first? What tools and services you think are missing? Okay, I think that actually that question maybe should be a little bit later. And what tools and services held your interest? What kind of activities in Project Catalyst are you aware of? what kind of activities you would like to see near future? Okay, I think these are kind of similar. What kind of activities you would like to see in near future, or what tools, services you think are missing in order to capture new people attention?
Yeah, they are similar.
Would you answer the same way for both, Patrick? If you would have given this answer, what kind of activities you would like to see in near future? Does this also answer the same thing?
No, tools are different than activities. Tools have to support activities. So they come one step after the activities. Activities follow ideas. We have ideas, then we decide we need to do some activities. And then after doing activities repeatedly, we need tools. Now, the current what I'm saying is that the two things I brought up there, generate ideas, sustain ideas, are activities. And therefore, that we are already doing repeatedly, and therefore we need tools. But the other activities, I think there is one more activity. In my dialect, it's called sincel, which is it's a dialect term. That means it's this person that at a fair, it helps meet the demands with the offer. So say you are an agricultor, goes to the big market, and you want to buy some onions, and you have to give something else. And the sincel is basically this figure who has enough knowledge of the market, which is very specific, that can put you in contact with who's selling what you need, and you in contact, and vice versa. So basically, I think an activity we miss is, I think, is the gatekeeper, the bridge. I saw it somewhere. You have a community of bridgers, something like this. People that are establishing bridges. That, yeah. Still talking.
All right. Now another thing. Does anybody has some ideas or support of what more questions or should we ask? For example, even this, what questions you would ask from expert? Maybe that would be in the last question. And is it too much to ask? Because then it creates a form like quite heavy. You start opening it and the holy shit, you have like 6 deep questions you need to think about. Or maybe there is something important we miss, because I mean, anyway, basically what I asked right now was, should we ask more questions or remove something, or this is now a nice list of it, and it makes sense to see also the sequence.
What I was doing there was also trying to simplify the wording, so less words.
Whether or not, I'm not sure if this should be on there or not, but one of the questions that I tend to ask people is, where do you want to end up when you're done? One of the things that people, I think, one of the reasons that I got involved in Cardano is because I can help, but more importantly, the passion is coming back, and I just want to be able to work with people. Some people want to take their ideas and build companies. Some just want to build and innovate. Some just want to assist others. I think one of the things that, and I don't know if it should be a question or not, is where do you want to go? What is your end result? And it'd be interesting to see how many people want to build businesses on Cardano, how many people want to integrate with Cardano, how many people just want to contribute technology. And I'm not sure if that's a question or not, but I do know that is a motivating structure when people begin to look at what they're doing in building anything out.
I agree. However, where you want to end up in is a bit of like an exit from experience. And I see that what kind of activities you would like to see in near future is similar. but they are still different because I'm like trying to in this I find like specific activities, and where you want to end up might not really be quite that. But could we combine these questions? Because I don't know, is it a good idea to have like 2 exit questions in the form?
Yeah. You could combine it to say something to the effect of, what activities would you like to see to help build what you believe is success in the near future?
I think Steven Savick, you raised your hand. Go for it.
I'm just wondering if Idea Scale does the best job at being the hub to ask these questions. I have a feeling of being lost sometimes because there's so many resources that I don't know, like a central hub of where to go to, where all these questions are asked.
I'm sorry, Steven, did you also add a question on the board? Because I can was in a matter.
That's okay. I was just trying something. So,
I mean, Steven.
oh, the other Steven. Okay. 2 Stevens. Sorry, Steven.
I just put a few stickies wondering about the like a centralized hub. I even forgot where the page that I once had that that would lead to Discord and various areas. So I was just wondering what kind of tool we could use to direct people a little bit better.
Yeah, that would be an answer to what tool services your think are missing in order to capture new people attention.
Right.
Another one is does not do the job, best job. And this is an example what kind of helps to do it. No, it's the idea scale itself. That's horrible. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now I get it. So yeah, I guess that's another kind of of topic, like how do we go around the idea scale? But maybe I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so for now, we got start with one thing. What I was wondering was, should we ask the exit first, like in what kind of activities you want to end up feel successful, and then ask next what engaged you first?
Thank you, Tevo. I'm just thinking here that one question that we can ask also is, if there was just one thing that will accomplish or will embrace everything you need to know at this point, what tool that will be, or what activity, or what study, or what question, or what do you need us to provide you to fulfill the requirements now? Just one thing. For people to narrow down and think about one thing that they need to be able to onboard and to accomplish the certain level of proficiency that they need or they have.
Isn't this kind of answering that, like in what kind of activities you want to end up to feel like successful? Because that would create an economy where they have to answer, okay, what is that one thing or several things? And feeling successful usually means that you are using your skill and sharing and giving and making something. Depends of your core values. But
right. I mean, one of the things that we face here is with this ecosystem, and actually the blockchain ecosystem, is that we have too many projects, right? And because of that, we want to be everywhere. So just trying to narrow down people to, maybe I'm talking by experience, you know, that's the way I feel. So sometimes asking that question, what is that really matters to me, and taking it back on
so you mean maybe we should ask how do you experience Catalyst project right now? Like how does the person itself feel like this? How do you formulate it? And
got it. Maybe I'm thinking that this survey is going to people that doesn't know anything about this, or what is the target for this survey?
No, probably it's already everybody who already knows about Project Catalyst and is working, like people in this room. Of course, there is Anne, who I haven't actually heard before. Maybe he wants to take some speech and say how much he understands right now, what's going on, and where she has found his place in the ecosystem.
Okay, hi everyone. It's a bit late in our country right now, so I'm just listening. It's very interesting, the conversations that are going on. Yes, I do come from Africa, and here we are in this very interesting project, Catalyst. So I've been around since for about 5 weeks now, just over a month. And my interest is, I'm in education, so my interest is in the people. And I was interested in the thought about the fact that the capacity is low for people coding. There's what has been around in the languages that have been used, but Haskell is not it's not a common language, so there's not many. So building that capacity from ground, and I'm also interested in younger people, children in school, and mathematics teachers, people like that, to start to learn functional programming and programming from the base. So I suppose in this map, I don't know whether we have any people, but it would be like the people who are growing into this ecosystem, both the developers, the users, the businesses. Yeah, so that would be my interest in my area. So my proposals were mostly around that capacity building and reaching the unreached or the hard to reach. We keep talking about the forgotten bottom. How does this trickle down all the way to the ground up? So my proposals were around that, building Cardano, scalability and around building it from ground up, basically. So I don't know if that answers your question, Tevo, but I do appreciate what you put out.
Yes, you kind of did it.
Maps are amazing. I love them.
Indirectly, because this kind of created the question, you kind of supported Juan's idea of, but maybe to rephrase the question in a way that, what are you working on, and what, I don't know, is it the same thing? Like, I think it's not. One thing is what you're currently working on, and what you just provided to us is something we could also capture as a sentiment of where the person sits in an ecosystem, while he also understands the rest of the stuff, like how he got here and where he's going. So I think there are two different things of what makes you successful and what you're doing right now. So does it make sense to everybody else too? I have one more question in middle here where we ask somewhere here where what you're pretty much doing. How do you word it even? What kind of activities, proposals you are working on.
Yeah, I will take a look at that later on and see with different perspectives to see if I find something else. And what I'll do is I'll communicate with you guys through what? Through Discord, I guess, right? This is a very important survey. I like it a lot.
And Steven Sevic.
Just a final thought that a lot of some of the proposals that I've been looking at have like a $100K, $100,000 price tag on them in a category that has like 200K. So they're wanting like 50%. Just wondering of questions that we could ask of like, can your problem be divided amongst campaigns or something like that? Just a thought while we're gathering thoughts here. Just something that maybe would prompt somebody to maybe divide up their proposal or their problem into areas.
Okay, so you mean through this form, persuade the person to make more scope down proposals, or what kind of?
I'm not sure if that's the place for it or not. I just thought I'd mention it while we're gathering ideas.
Yeah, I think this might not be needed because we have that. Yeah, and again, then no, that's not right, because already I have in the form. I was thinking that like in IdeaScale, we actually capture kind of the people's budget and understanding, and then we can compare with funded projects, and we got the analytics of what usually gets funded, how much is the amount, and compared to how many people. So that kind of has like a more impact on helping people to scope down and give them the reason why they should be more tight with their budgets. But then again, I'm also asking in this form like problems and what kind of activities, proposals you're working on, and that I could actually also pull from IdeaScale. But that's maybe that's the key, that what we already have on IdeaScale we could also put on the Admira board just to capture people problems, and maybe from previous funds actually. I see. But yeah, right now I don't think that trying to persuade the scoping the proposals in this form is an adequate thing to do. But great thought. All right. I think we had quite a nice session. At least I was able to capture a lot of intention and helpful guidance, and sensed a bit of problems. I will upload that also in the Swarm YouTube at some point, maybe in few days. That usually takes a bit longer, but tomorrow we definitely try to finish up the questions and make that form publicly available. Perhaps I start with the Swarm session where like Catalyst Circle channel again, and tell a bit of like seeing the draft of how the onboarding message looks like, because right now I'm just like 3 sentences, and basically maybe that would be like a better onboarding text for giving a reason for people to answer these kinds of questions and give them the inspiration to do that. Other than that, I am done for today, or well, I am done for more chatting, but deep work and ideation from my part is done. And thanks for joining.
Thank you.
I hope you joined. I'm going to stop sharing and recording.